Mr. Speaker, I'd now like to yield such time as he might consume to the principal sponsor of the legislation on the Republican side, Mr. Hagedorn of Minnesota.
Gentleman from Minnesota is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Ranking Member Chabot, for yielding the time. I rise today in support of H.R. 4405, the Women's Business Centers Improvement Act, and thanks to my colleague, Representative Davids, for sponsoring this bill, introducing it, and inviting me to co-author. I appreciate your leadership on this, Congresswoman. This bipartisan legislation works to support women entrepreneurs nationwide by modernizing and strengthening the Women's Business Centers program. Our bill will increase access to training, counseling, assistance programs, capital, and workforce investment. All these measures are essential to growing businesses, expanding enterprises, and growing our United States economy. Millions of women own small businesses in the United States, and that's a wonderful thing. Entrepreneurship and the Women's Business Center program are essential for empowering women to become business owners. By enhancing these services, we increase the ability to inspire and foster new generations of business leaders. Small business is the job-producing backbone of our American economy. And whether you're in southern Minnesota or western or eastern Kansas or communities across the nation, it's critical that we foster an environment of growth where entrepreneurs of all stripes have access to the resources they need to succeed and are not stymied by excessive regulations, taxes, and other anti-business burdens. According to the National Association of Women Business Owners, as of 2017, more than 11.6 million firms are owned and operated by women. These firms employ almost 9 million people and generate $1.7 trillion in revenue. And to keep our economy growing, we must embrace, encourage, and promote emerging enterprises, including those owned by folks who do not fit the traditional mold of business owners, to get started. And one of the great success stories that we have in women entrepreneurship is that of Christine Lantonen and her candy company in Minnesota's 1st District out of LeSueur, Minnesota. The company is called Maud Borup. And in May, I had the opportunity to tour the 112-year-old wholesale confections company that specializes in gourmet candy, baking kits, food kits, and lots of other things, including gummy bears, the best I've ever enjoyed, to be honest with you. And Maud Borup started as a woman-owned brick-and-mortar candy shop in St. Paul, even before women had the right to vote. Yet today, it's a wholesale company continuing to offer opportunities for women. 96% of its more than 100 employees are women. And Christine, an Army veteran, no less, bought the company in 2005 and expanded the employment by 2,000%, sales by 2,500%. To put that in perspective, really the sales have gone from 500,000 all the way to 20 million in just 10 years. And for good reason. She was named the Small Business Person of the Year in Minnesota for 2019. Now, she served her community. Now she's served her country. Now she's serving her community and expanding jobs and economic opportunity for the folks there in southern Minnesota. And this is one of the types of success stories that we're trying to emulate and replicate all across the country with our legislation, the Women's Business Centers Improvement Act. Our legislation will fund more than 100 nonprofit organizations that provide training, counseling, and technical assistance specifically for women entrepreneurs. Our bill, as the ranking member said, expands upon the success of H.R. 1980, which was passed by the House in May of 2018 but didn't quite make it into law. And our legislation will make key improvements for the Small Business Administration's Office of Women Business Ownership and Women's Business Center program by raising the initial grant amount to $300,000, increase the authorization level to $31.5 million for fiscal years 2020 through 2023. This legislation establishes an accreditation program to strengthen women's business centers by increasing accountability and raising the standards of excellence for training and counseling of women entrepreneurs, and will also create a transparent and consultative process for the selection of new center locations, while also requiring an annual report to ensure transparency and measure the effectiveness of the overall program. Most importantly, the bill will help facilitate small business creation, provide much-needed reforms that will be a helping hand to women business owners, free aspiring entrepreneurs of undue burdens and barriers to entry, and further economic expansion and help hardworking Americans achieve their dreams. I'm incredibly proud of this bipartisan nature of this bill. I want to thank again Congresswoman Davids for introducing the bill and managing it. and I'm proud to stand with her to champion women-owned enterprises. And a special thanks to the Committee on Small Business, of course, our chair, Chairwoman Velasquez, Ranking Member Chabot, for the bipartisan support that they've offered. I ask my colleagues to join in support and vote for H.R. 4405. With that, I